This is Northern Light for Friday, June 26th. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Nurses at Alice Hyde and Malone have a new contract that includes raises and AI protections. We'll have more details coming up.
Also on the show, a colorful new mural now covers the side of an historic theater in downtown Au Sable Forks. It's drawing attention to a years-long effort to transform the building into a new home for the arts.
When you grow up in a town that is vibrant and it just keeps declining year after year after year, you start to lose hope. You don't want to take a gamble on something. And it's really been trying to encourage people that we're worth taking a chance on.
And we take a look at NCPR's community calendar and get a preview for a Trans Pride punk show in Potsdam and Independence Day celebration in Clinton County.
The weather's nice and it's a full weekend. Rouse's Point's a nice little village where everyone can kind of celebrate, go into the parks, go into the festivities. And so it's just one of those really hometown feel events.
All that's coming up on Northern Light. Stick with us. Support for Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio comes from the Au Sable Freshwater Center, building a better future for Adirondack communities through effective science-based stewardship of freshwater systems. More information at ausablecenter.org. And from the Adirondack Community Foundation, where generous donors, fund holders, and change makers come together to address the Adirondack region's biggest challenges, including housing, childcare, and career pathways. adkcommunityfoundation.org. This is Northern Light. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Nurses at the hospital in Malone ratified a new contract Wednesday. Kara Chapman has more on that agreement and the status of other negotiations with hospitals in the North Country.
The new contract between Alice Hyde Medical Center and the 70 or so union nurses there maintains their current health benefits and gives them annual raises over the next 4 years. The New York State Nurses Association union says the wages will help recruit and retain nurses to ensure safe staffing. The contract also includes improved protections against workplace violence and new protections against artificial intelligence. Alice Hyde President Michelle LeBeau said in a statement that the agreement, quote, reflects our shared commitment to our patients, the community, and to the future of healthcare in the region. Alice Hyde is one of the 3 New York-based hospitals in the University of Vermont Health Network. Union members at Elizabethtown Community Hospital in Essex County settled a contract at the end of March. The next bargaining sessions on a new agreement with Champlain Valley Physicians Hospital in Plattsburgh are scheduled to take place next week. These contract negotiations are happening as UVM Health works to address a projected $300 million budget gap over the next 3 years. Earlier this month, the network laid off 142 people system-wide, more than half of whom were permanently eliminated. 19 of the affected employees were based at CVPH. The union said they include the nurses who work at the Adirondack Blood Donor Center, which is slated for closure as part of the cuts. The center supplies almost all the blood used at CVPH and supplies several other hospitals in the region. The plan is to transition blood acquisition to the American Red Cross. The nurses union has started a petition calling on UVM Health to reverse the decision to close the center. The union is planning a speak out next week. Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio.
Across the North Country, communities are grappling with what to do with vacant buildings left behind by decades of economic malaise. In Au Sable Forks, one of those buildings is an historic movie theater that sat largely empty for years. Now a pair of local business owners is working to transform it into a community arts venue. Their efforts got a recent boost with the unveiling of a new mural outside the theater. Supporters say it's part of a broader effort to reimagine the hamlets downtown. David Escobar was there for the celebration and has this story.
Just off Main Street in Au Sable Forks, dozens of residents gather around a towering blue mural painted across 3,000 square feet of brick wall. The artwork is called Water Wonder. It's the work of Oregon-based artist Erica Rosendale.
Thank you for putting your wall up for something like this. Thank you for your trust.
A kingfisher stretches across the wall, surrounded by bubbles filled with scenes from local history. Workers from the old paper mill, a fly fisherman, and artist Rockwell Kent. It's actually the first piece of public art visible from downtown.
The impact's really felt. Like, I've painted in cities and painted murals all over the place, but the impact that this one's having is so direct.
For Town of J Supervisor Matt Stanley, the mural is part of a larger effort to reimagine the future of Au Sable Forks.
The mill left Au Sable Forks in the 1970s, and it's gone through a renaissance of different changes over those years. Now we need to find what's our new chapter.
And a huge anchor for this revitalization is what the mural's painted on. It covers the side of the Au Sable Theater, a building that, until recently, was better known for its peeling paint and uncertain future than for public art.
All right, so you're standing in the lobby.
Jason Andrew co-owns the theater.
The easiest way to move forward with the renovations was really just to gut it back to the original bones.
Inside, construction is still underway. Fresh insulation covers sections of exposed walls. There's ongoing electrical and heating work. Old marquee letters sit in piles near hard hats and tools. The theater first opened in 1937 as the Hollywood Theater. Over the decades, it's changed hands several times, serving as everything from a movie house to a manufacturing space for Olympic luges. In 2021, Andrew and his husband Norman Jabot bought the building. The pair has spent years organizing arts events across the North Country. Jabot says they eventually decided it was time to create a more permanent home for that work.
So Jason and I took the plunge, and so we bought this theater thinking it was going to be a very quick 6-month renovation, take down a wall, put in a new heating system, and open the door.
That timeline didn't quite work out.
And now we're 5 years into a renovation.
Over the past 5 years, the couple has pieced together over $70,000 through small business grants, fundraising, and their own savings, while also lining up local contractors to restore the theater. When it finally opens, Jabot says there'll be a coffee shop by day and a multi-purpose art space during the evening.
There'll be a film component, but there'll definitely be music, there'll be dance, there will be, spoken word. It'll be a stage.
The goal isn't to bring back the theater exactly as it was. Andrew says they're building something that can evolve with whatever people want to do there.
So this space has to be really flexible and, has to be able to accommodate whatever that kind of flexibility is. We don't want to be roped into a Cineplex. We want to have the chairs and the seating being able to move and mobile so we can all do all kinds of different things in here.
The couple doesn't expect the theater to open till fall 2027, but the mural outside is a sign of things to come. Town Supervisor Matt Stanley says renovating any blighted building is a big deal. But in this community, he says the harder undertaking is convincing people that revitalization is still possible.
When you grow up in a town that is vibrant and it just keeps declining year after year after year, you start to lose hope. You don't want to take a gamble on something. And it's really been trying to encourage people that we're worth taking a chance on.
Jason Andrew says he doesn't see the theater as something that will single-handedly revive Au Sable Forks, but he hopes it can give people a place to gather, create, and spend time downtown together.
We love the energy and the engagement with artists, right? And there's nothing more complete than you're able to offer them a place to make work or to show work. It can take one person, one building, and it can have that rippling effect where we all get to sort of celebrate what the arts mean.
For now, visitors can only peer through the theater's unfinished lobby, but at least for one afternoon, it became a gathering place again. David Escobar, North Country Public Radio, Au Sable Forks.
David Escobar is a Report for America Corps member. He reports on diversity issues in the Adirondacks through a partnership between North Country Public Radio and the Adirondack Explorer. This is NCPR. You're listening to Northern Light, only here on North Country Public Radio. It's 8:11. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Stick around, we'll get a preview for a couple of community events in North Country.
That's in just a few minutes here on Northern Light, which is supported by Barstow Subaru of Potsdam, committed to the safety and security of all-wheel drive. Details at barstowsubaru.com. And from AJA Architecture and Planning in Glens Falls, providing architecture, planning, and interior design services for residential, commercial, and community spaces throughout the North Country. AJAarchitecture.com. Music here from Roan Yellowthorn out of Plattsburgh. Northern Light is supported by NCC Systems, providing businesses and homes with fire alarm, surveillance, and access control systems. Full-service facilities in Plattsburgh, Watertown, and Potsdam. NCCsystems.com.
The latest Siena Research Institute poll shows Governor Kathy Hochul's favorability and approval ratings have improved over the past few months. According to the poll, Hochul's favorability rating is up slightly to 43%. Meanwhile, 53% of New York registered voters say they approve of the job she's doing. That's up from 48% in April. In the race for governor, the poll finds Hochul has extended her lead over Republican Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman. Hochul now leads Blakeman 52% to 32%, up from a 16-point lead in April.
Still, Blakeman's favorability has risen to 25%, up from 17% in April, although a majority of voters still don't know who he is or don't know enough to have an opinion. The New York Public News Network's Erica Kenny reports that New Yorkers' top concern, according to the poll, is affordability.
Siena Research pollster Stephen Greenberg says this news should come as no surprise.
It's the economy, stupid.
However, Greenberg says that candidates from both sides of the aisle will have to adjust their messaging to speak to voters who are concerned about rising prices.
Be you the most conservative Republican or the most liberal Democrat, what voters want to hear from you is, how are you going to make their lives better?
The Siena poll also showed that a majority of New York voters from across the political spectrum think a recently passed one-year moratorium on data centers will be good for the state.
We don't see the typical partisan divide on this issue. So a majority of Democrats, 53%, think that the moratorium will be good for New York. But a plurality of Republicans, 40 to 27%, and a plurality of independent voters, 40 to 24%, also think it will be good.
Governor Hochul has not signed the moratorium into law yet, and there are developers still looking to build data centers. In Buffalo, I'm Erica Kenny for the New York Public News Network.
New York's Medicaid director defended the state's record on fighting fraud during a congressional hearing yesterday. Amir Basiri testified before a House subcommittee alongside counterparts from California, Minnesota, and Ohio. House Republicans asked Basiri about a recent federal lawsuit. The Trump administration is suing New York for rigging the process for the new operator of the state's home health program. Basiri did not address the lawsuit directly. He said the state has recovered billions from New Yorkers accused of abusing the Medicaid system.
These outcomes reflect years of sustained work across agencies to identify improper activity, recover funds, and hold bad actors accountable.
Democrats tried to focus on the cuts the Trump administration has made to Medicaid and what they called overreach when it comes to investigating fraud in states.
Crews are working to recover an excavator that accidentally fell into the Black River in Jefferson County in March. According to 7 News, a 60,000-pound excavator carrying fuel slipped down an embankment in Brownville and fell into the river. The operator also fell into the water and was rescued and later reported to be in stable condition. State officials from the Department of Transportation and Environmental Conservation are now working with divers and engineers to remove the excavator from the river.
A new insulation rebate program can help residents of Lake Placid, Tupper Lake, and Plattsburgh reduce energy expenses. According to the Plattsburgh Press Republican, the North Country Clean Energy Hub is partnering with municipalities for a new thermal insulation project. The program aims to reduce heating and cooling costs for families by upgrading their home's weatherization. All municipal electric customers in the 3 communities are eligible for one incentive in payment per year, covering up to 75% of installation costs. Low-income residents may even receive up to 100% of the installation costs. Although the program requires upfront payments, the program can pay contractors directly for qualifying low-income residents. To receive the incentive payment, residents must work directly with the contractor and submit a rebate application for pre-approval before installation.
The Potsdam Village Board approved a resolution that mandates the use of only native plants in future landscaping projects. According to the Watertown Daily Times, new plantings on village property must be from the Northeast. Exceptions are allowed for necessary non-native plants, including food crops, lawns, and green roofs. The policy does not affect private property in the village. Plants listed by the State Department of Environmental Conservation as invasive cannot be used on village property. The resolution also recommends using plants and seeds free of certain kinds of pesticides, which can harm pollinators. Existing plants will not be affected by the resolution until they're replaced. Village officials say the policy is intended to strengthen local ecosystems and wildlife habitats in the face of climate change.
And in North Country baseball, the Saranac Surge trounced the Malone Border Hounds 13-5 last night. They'll face off again this morning at 11:30 at Veterans Field. And the North Country Thunderbirds lost to the Tupper Lake River Pigs 8-9. They play again tonight at 7 at Racket Stadium in Tupper Lake. This is NCPR.
You're listening to Northern Light, only here on North Country Public Radio. It's 8:18. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Stick around after the show for Bird Note. That's coming up at 8:42. With our eyes to the skies, sunset in Fullerville is at 8:49 tonight, and the moon is a waxing gibbous at 90% of full.
It's 63 degrees right now in Plattsburgh, 62 in Saranac Lake and in Fort Drum, too. 18 degrees in Kingston and 62 degrees in Glens Falls. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are what's on tap for your day today, and a chance of thunderstorms, too, which could get severe at times for you folks in the Champlain Valley. That's expected this afternoon. The winds could get pretty gusty and even produce some small hail. Rain and chance of thunderstorms is in the forecast for tomorrow, but hopefully things should be clearing up by Sunday. For a closer look at how all of this impacts the trail conditions in the Adirondacks this weekend, here's John Warren with the New York Almanac.
In the Adirondack High Peaks on Saturday, the sun will rise at 5:14 a.m. and set at 8:43 p.m. Tonight will be the latest sunset of the year. There is a chance of rain and thunderstorms through Saturday, though the forecast for Sunday is looking more pleasant. High Peak summit temperatures are expected to be in the mid-50s through the weekend. Be prepared for rain and muddy trail conditions. Some waters will rise, but crossing shouldn't be a problem this weekend, except perhaps in isolated areas under thunderstorms. Remember to never be above tree line or on open water when you hear thunder. Waters are running between a bit below normal to a bit above normal for this time of year. At North Creek, the Hudson River is forecast to be at about 3.5 feet through the weekend. The Racket River at Piercefield is expected to be at about 6 feet. Lake Champlain has risen to about 97 feet, and water temperatures there remain in the mid to upper 60s. Mirror Lake water temperature is about 70 degrees. It's free fishing weekend in New York State. Popular trailheads, campsites, boat launches, and parking areas will be busy this weekend and next due to the upcoming July 4th weekend. In the High Peaks Wilderness, a stringer is broken on the bridge over the Opalescent River that leads to the Feldspar Lean-To off the southern end of the Lake Arnold Trail. Use caution on the bridge. DEC is planning its replacement. Those are the outdoor conditions in the Adirondacks this weekend. For North Country Public Radio, this is John Warren from the New York Almanac online at NewYorkAlmanac.com.
As always, lots happening in the North Country this weekend. In northern Clinton County, it's the big Independence Day celebration, and it kicks off tonight. Rouse's Point Stars and Stripes on the Lake begins at 5 o'clock with food trucks in the Village Rec Park, and it lasts through Sunday evening. Jerica Manning is on the Stars and Stripes committee, and she says the celebration just used to be a parade.
The Stars and Stripes Committee has really expanded it by having music in the park on Friday and Saturday, kids' activities like rides and bouncy houses, food trucks, and just a lot of entertainment for the entire weekend.
Live music includes the Tragically Hip tribute band, the Strictly Hip, tonight, and Vermont-based cover band Nighthawk tomorrow. Tomorrow is also Kids' Day, featuring an ice cream social, Pipsqueak the Clown, and face painting.
Something new for the country's 250th anniversary is the Red, White, and Wheels Classic Car Showcase. Part of Route 11 in Rouse's Point will be shut down from 5:30 to 8:30 tomorrow evening for the display of classic and muscle cars from the 1930s to the present. Manning, who's organizing the car show, says it's a fitting way to celebrate the United States.
The country has changed, the times have changed, but people still have this passion for vehicles, and I thought that would tie in nicely with the 250th anniversary of our country.
The car show raises money for the Stars and Stripes celebration. Manning says the big weekend as a whole marks the start of summer for folks in the country's northern tier.
The weather's nice, and it's a full weekend. Rouse's Point's a nice little village where everyone can kind of celebrate themselves on their properties, go into the parks, go into the festivities. And so it's just one of those really hometown feel events.
You can find out more on the Rouse's Point Stars and Stripes on the Lake Facebook page. The weekend concludes Sunday evening with the parade and fireworks at dusk.
Today at SLC Arts in Potsdam, there is a Trans Pride punk show. There are 3 bands performing, and all of them will feature people who identify as transgender. It's being made possible through both Potsdam Pride and the Thorn Alliance. Doors for the show are at 6:30, with music to follow at 7. It features performances by Comfort Object from Rochester, Young Mischief from Potsdam, and Fed Ash from Binghamton. Ethan Shanty is one of our digital folks here at NCPR, and he's also a punk musician. He organized the concert. Hey, Ethan.
Hello, Catherine.
So tell me more about the show. What's it about?
So a couple months ago, I was approached by Potsdam Pride asking if I wanted to, during Pride Month, organize a show featuring exclusively trans bands. And I jumped at the prospect. For the last couple of years, I've been organizing concerts at SLC Arts. They have almost always been a collaboration with Potsdam Pride because there is I think a stigma around punk music that it is not inclusive, sort of like a guys only kind of club. And I really wanted people to, I wanted to get away from that. Right. And so by partnering with Potsdam Pride, I think we're letting everyone know that everyone is welcome to be there. But we've never done a show exclusively with trans bands before. So I jumped at the idea because I think it would be so fun. And I want everyone to know that they are welcome and included in our little punk scene.
Yeah, there seems to be a full slate of performances. What are these bands like?
They kind of run the gamut. Young Mischief is sort of like the classic sort of like 70s and 80s style of punk rock. But when you think about like the Sex Pistols, it's kind of like that kind of sound. And they are just young kids from Potsdam who I think are between like 19 and 21. There is this band from Rochester called Comfort Object, who is not quite as loud. I think they call themselves like screamo, but they play some pretty tunes as well as some loud parts. And then Fed Ash is possibly the loudest band I've ever heard in my entire life.
So what are these shows for people that have never been to one? What are the shows at SLC Arts like?
The vibe is super positive, super inclusive. Everyone is there just to have a good time. It's, everyone believes that music is not a competition. It's a thing for you to just enjoy. We usually have packed crowds running. We usually have packed crowds. All different ages are represented. We always only do all ages shows because we want to ensure that young kids especially have a place to go that's not school and that's not work and that's not home, where they can go out and express themselves and be themselves. So there are often kids who are as young as 5 and people who are as old as 75. Everyone truly is welcome. But it's also at an art gallery, so everyone is like very respectful of the space. And even though people are moving around, they're not like violently thrashing, which is what I know people think happens at punk shows. It's very positive. It's very fun. Everyone is super supportive of all of the bands, and it's just such a delight to see these kids who like can express themselves authentically.
Yeah, you touched on this a little bit earlier in our conversation, but why do you think, like, especially during Pride Month, having a show dedicated to exclusively trans musicians is important for our community?
Yeah, I just think it's so important for our transgender friends to feel like they're a part of the conversation and a part of the scene alongside those folks who identify as male or female. And, I think that there are seldom occasions where their work is the center of attention or in the spotlight. And I just think it's super important to celebrate that.
Sounds like it's going to be a fun time. Again, can you remind us of the details?
So the show is going on tonight. 6:30 is when doors open at SLC Arts. They're located at 6 Raymond Street in Potsdam. It's a collaboration between Potsdam DIY, SLC Arts, Potsdam Pride, and the Thorn Alliance. There are 3 bands performing: Comfort Object from Rochester, Young Mischief from Potsdam, and Fed Ash from Binghamton, New York. It is a sliding scale, so, these concerts at SLC Arts are always pay what you can. No one is ever turned away for a lack of funds. You can pay $0, you can pay $10, you can pay more than that. All of the money that comes in the door, though, is going to be going directly to SLC Arts in order to continue their programming, because the funds to pay the bands are being supplied by Potsdam Pride and the Thorn Alliance, very graciously, very thankful that they are willing to put that up. Music starts around 7 o'clock, and I say around 7 o'clock because we have this thing called punk time, which is, 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late, sometimes a half an hour late, but we'll do our best to start at 7.
Awesome. Ethan Shanty works on NCPR's digital team. He's also a punk musician who organized a trans pride punk show tonight in Potsdam. Doors open at 6:30, music to follow at 7. Thanks, Ethan.
Thanks, Catherine.
We're going to go out on a little music from one of the bands, Comfort Object. They're playing tonight in a trans pride punk show at SLC Arts in Potsdam. Music starts at 7. This is Pinnacle Hill from Comfort Object.
Broke down at the record archive. I don't live, I just survive. That's what Megan told me last night. But the city, it just keeps me
Pinnacle Hill from Comfort Object. They're playing tonight in a trans pride punk show at SLC Arts in Potsdam. Music starts at 7.
That's it for the show for the day. Stick around for news headlines from NPR starting in just a moment. If you miss an episode of Northern Light, never fear. You can always listen back and to the archive any place you get your podcasts. And while you're there, subscribe to NCPR's other podcasts too, like Story of the Day, The Howl, and Northwards.
Keep up with NCPR throughout the day on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. And you can also email the news team at news@ncpr.org. Our theme music is by Danny Thomas of Canton. Till next week, I'm Catherine Wheeler.
And I'm Monica Sandreski. Be well.